I had some issues with my new clone saw, and it's, you know, it's one of those things, I guess. But here's the damage, or the failure on the thing. The carb is also not real tunable, but I thought I'd show you this to you guys since it failed the first day using it in an actual, you know, real life situation. Yeah, I mean, it worked good for a while, and then I tried to put it through like a 12-inch or 14-inch piece of wood. Take a look at that. But ultimately, it failed. This AV mount, and these fail, you know, often, but often it's after like 20 years from being, you know, covered in grease and oil and stuff. I mean, I can't see, I guess it's just the rubber, because you've still got this layer of rubber on the metal piece, you know, where it was melted in there. So anyways, and then unfortunately, you know, I didn't know the proper procedure to replace that, get this handle off and all that, so I ended up, you know, basically down a rabbit hole here. So if you are wondering, you know, what the inside of this looks like, in case you wind up in the same situation I did, you've got one ground strap that runs through here and up into the trigger assembly, and then a second ground strap that just kind of hangs out there, and it is actually in there. So that's how that works there. But we'll get this back together, and yeah, hopefully that's a little bit helpful for you there. Yeah, it's just, it's extremely too cold outside right now. But the first upgrade I think I'm going to do to this is replace out this carb that was requiring like 2.5 full turns, 2 turns out on idle to get it to run right. So I went ahead and ordered the factory Stihl carburetor. This is going to be a Zama made in China versus the unbranded made in China. But I mean, everything looks about the same on it. Man, I had this one just no advance on the idle screw. But yeah, it looks like it should bolt right up. And man, I tell you what, the Husky that I was just working with, that is nowhere near as fiddly as this one is to get this. What you're trying to do is get the throttle cable hooked up in there, and it's just extremely difficult. There's a little slot like inside of here where you can kind of get in there, and I guess that's what this is for here. But I mean, it just comes out of there so easy. I guess if you kind of roll it back a little bit, it kind of wants to go into place, but still just not really. But everything's working, and now I've got a Stihl carb on this. And I mean, essentially that's what you're getting when you buy this Farmertec stuff. You're getting the same, you know, basic componentry, just with a lot cheaper stuff on it, you know. There's an aftermarket parts supply for the, this is going to be the 200T that I'm working with here, so I can go and get the, you know, Stihl actual carb for it, replacing out the cheap one that's on there that doesn't tune right. And then I can also get like a new jug. If I wanted to get a new jug, I can actually get a good aftermarket one. And with these AV mounts, I mean, that's another issue too, right? If you are looking to get a 201T, I went down to my local Stihl dealer, and I mean, I was pricing out saws there. I was like, all right, they got the 194, I think, T. They had that one in stock. They didn't have the 201T, but I was like, okay, well, you know, what if I wanted to buy one? And the guy was like, well, there's like it might get here in 2 months, maybe. I ordered the Stihl set of these AV mounts. One of them was going to take a week. One of them was going to take possibly 3 weeks. And that's kind of the same thing for like tools like this from Harbor Freight too. They're actually in stock. They're actually available. You know, this saw is on Amazon for about $300, but it's actually available. Like, you can get it within the 4 days or whatever. Just don't order it from the Farmertec or especially the Holzfforma website. They're going to charge you, they aren't going to ship it from the U.S. Even though you're here in the U.S., they charge you I think it was $60 shipping. I ordered it from the Farmertec website because I thought, hey, you know, it's Farmertec's the company that owns it. They're going to ship it fastest, whatever. Well, you get all the way up to checkout, and then it's like, it's $60 to ship it. And I was like, oh, Jesus. But luckily, I mean, they had a 25% off, so it ended up being about $300 either way. And, you know, just order it from Amazon. But, so the saw itself was about $300. I paid another $30 for the bar and chain, and then now I've put another, let's see, $75 into the carb. And these AV mounts, these are more Farmertec stuff, I think. And then the Stihl ones. So the Stihl ones are about $13 to $15 a piece, which I ordered a set of those because I can't have this thing failing in the field like that if I'm going to use it, right? I need a good tool. So I ordered the Stihl ones, and then these are the cheaper eBay ones, and I got a full set of those. This is going to be the bottom of your handle down here, and then these two are on the top of the saw. We'll replace those out in a second, but the set of these off of eBay, which is probably the same Holzfforma brand, was $15 or $12-ish for the whole set, USA stock. And then they're even cheaper if you can wait from China, you know, and as long as you don't go the route of ordering it during the Chinese New Year, which is like last week of January, first week of February, then you can actually get it in a timely fashion. But there we go. Alright, we got OEM steel carbon there. We got the only AV mounts that I could get, which is going to be the Holzfforma back on there. Just got a small amount of nuts and bolts left to do, and we should be able to get it back together and see if it'll fire back up. Alright, running pretty good so far, right? I don't know. Not too shabby. Let's see how it restarts. Okay, so here's the Holzfforma saw that I bought. It has failed after the first day, and I put together a little video there showing the new saw and kind of what it does and how it operates, and you know, just the first startup of it, initial thoughts on it. The saw actually ran pretty good. I did a proper break-in, full 2 tanks of gas, I think, before I actually put it on film. But my camera, I got a new camera. My wife and I have this Christmas present deal where, you know, we just kind of get ourselves the gifts that we actually want. But I didn't have the volume settings right on the new camera, and so I'm back with my old trusty camera, the one that works. But I was saying when I shot the film or the video about this saw that it was a really hard decision for me to get an aftermarket, cheap knockoff clone, Chinesium, whatever you want to call it, because I mean I shop, like, my tools are made in USA. I typically shop at like antique stores, so I can actually get good tools that have made in the USA on them. You know, that's really the only place you can get them, is like antique stores. But what's cool is, you know, you get to know your antique store purveyors, or whatever you'd like to call them. Those guys are out looking for stuff to fill up their store, you know, good stuff from auctions and estate sales and all that good stuff, trade days. So if you're looking for something, typically they'll be able to find something for you. And also, if you've got something, you know, for trade, they'll give you something good on it. So getting into the cylinder porting and all that, I was looking for a motor and one of these, what they call Fordhams. He ended up having one, and I knew I wasn't going to be able to trust that Echo chainsaw, so you know, I just brought it down there and said, hey man, what can you give this, you know, to me for? And he's like, well, look around, maybe you'll find something you want. And he's like, well, what are you doing right now? And I'm like, well, I'm kind of into working on chainsaws and figuring out how to port them and stuff like that. And he's like, well, I got some of these motors with these handheld tools on them back here. So I got 2 of them and basically traded him straight across, plus a set of punches that are USA snap-on, and a set of metric screws that he had laying around that are actually good quality. But yeah, one of them goes up to 14,000 RPMs. And yeah, this one goes up to 14, and the other one goes up to 28. So I've got a couple different ones here now. I can actually put on, you know, a sander on one, and then have the Fordham for my burr bits and change those out. But I mean, that's how I shop for tools. I want good quality tools, and I want them to be available too, though. That's the other problem. I can't go to an antique shop or you know, whatever every day and hunt for the, you know, set of Torx head bits that I need. I mean, not like they even probably made these in the USA, but what I'm saying is, it was hard for me to get this saw. I didn't want to do it. If there was a USA company, and the other thing is, like, there's a parts market for these saws, right? I mean, we have patent laws in the US, and they wouldn't be able to sell these saws if they were violating patent laws. And so this is a 20-plus-year-old saw. The patent has run out. There's a market for the spare parts for this. Stihl can't even supply them, right? It's going to take me 3 weeks to get one AV mount. So if an American company wanted to step up, there's a market for the spare parts for these machines, if nothing else. And I think that's how this company started out. They saw the need for the spare parts market. They started making the spare parts for it. They ended up making all of the spare parts, so much so that they could sell a kit for the whole saw that was just all the spare parts and then you had to put it together, you know. And then they eventually just started putting them together. So, anyways, that's the decision making behind getting this saw. You can't even get one from the Stihl dealer, and these are available. So, I mean, there you go. If you need one today, this is your only option, unless you want to get a smaller saw, which I didn't. So anyways, okay, sorry, long, drawn-out talk there. Let's get this thing put back together, see if we remember where all these vacuum hoses go. Oh, man, this is going to be a chore, isn't it? Oh, Jesus. Okay, this is in my shop. This isn't good. Golly. Isn't that nice? Okay, nobody let a match. Yeah, these, that's not a Chinese brand thing either. That's a Stihl thing, Stihl thing. They have that same issue, and now it reeks like gas in here. Golly. Okay, let's see if we can figure out how to get this thing back together. Whew. Oh. Man. Glad that was in 4K. See that big spider? Whew. Yeah, just some of the stuff you run into out here, right? Alright, I've got a big tree like covered up in brush over here. And I'm going to have to bring a machine down here to clear out that amount of brush. But let's see, I've got to make a path to get the machine down through there. And I've got some of those other trees that I took down. Anywhere from 10, 12, maybe up to 14 inch. So let's see what it'll do in some bigger wood, huh? This is where the rubber really meets the road here. So I've got a 16-inch bar on this. I actually went with the Holzfforma chain on here as well. And I'm not a huge fan of the chain. I've got my backup organ in my saw bag, but we'll see how it does here. So this looks to be maybe 12 inches or thereabouts. So we're going to see right now where the rubber meets the road. Yeah, let's do it. Yep. Okay, just a reminder, it is super important to follow that order of operations. Because I forgot what? My little ring. So once you get that boot back inside of there, you definitely need this ring to make it hold its shape. The one good thing that came out of this, I figured out, you know, there's a little bit easier way to get this throttle linkage hooked up, and that is going to be to hold it with a good set of needle nose and then install it that way. Yeah. I mean, it's marginally easier. Basically, get it started on there and then line up your throttle linkage and then hold it in there as you're putting your carb back down on there. Okay. And then you can get the choke hooked up. And let's see here, fuel line. Fuel line is actually pretty easy. I think I've determined for this vent line that doesn't actually vent, just kind of along the outside perimeter here. Other than that, everything else has stayed assembled. Oh, I forgot. Let's see, we've got a ground up here. Okay, that's lining up with this screw. There's the heater. This frigid cold. Okay. Alright, so this is all hooked up. The last couple things we're going to need here should just be these through bolts. Which are going to be the same. Okay, so we got our handle assembled there. That wasn't, no, it was really bad. It was borderline, you know, just insane. Okay, but we're nearing the home stretch here, I think. Why is my socket not staying on? Oh, it's just one of those days, folks. Just one of those days. It'll be interesting to see how this runs with a steel carb on there. The factory carb was just not good. Well, these are, let's see, is that sitting? That works. Throttle works. Is there anything special that I'm missing here? I think so. The reason I'm asking, these nuts are not engaging. That's weird though, that, I mean, it's just kind of dangling. Okay, so I'm thinking there's something going on with that piece. So maybe it wasn't installed right from the factory. Let's see if we've got a Torx driver we can actually kind of feed this through there. Okay, so that's what it was. There's a little kind of nut or bushing in there that was... Okay, now we're nice and stiff. That's how we like it. Let's just double check this one here, make sure. Okay, yeah. That one's kind of under load. That's okay. Okay, I think we're almost there. Let's get our air filter on here. How are we? I think it's like that, yeah. And then it's going to be a flathead. There we go. Let's see. Fuel. We need some fuel. Yeah, the fuel is kind of these caps are just, they're not good. I don't know if you had any experience with these quick twist caps, but it is not good. Yeah, I started using the red armor. I was told that was the best by the people at the store. I mean, these, I'm just having a hard time, I guess, with these. I don't know why. I don't know why I'm having such a hard time. Is it? You get a small one there, you got two big ones there. This is the way it should go, right? But it just doesn't want to. Okay, I guess that's right. All right. Well, the saw just kind of laughed at that one. That was, I mean, at least 12 inches of hardwood. So let's just bury the thing 16-inch, 3/8 small tooth chain. I mean, if it laughs at this, I don't think I have to say any more, right? All right, we're just in my little shed here. Speaking of which, this is probably going to echo like a danged cannon inside of here, so we'll earplug it up. Let's choke it out. On the Holzfforma, it's got this little keeper thing in it. It's also got on this a little tube, and I guess it's supposed to run down. This other one, the Stihl one's actually plastic versus the rubber, and it lines up with where it's supposed to be going. And it actually has a lip on there to kind of hook in, so that's good. Okay, yeah, see, there you go. Okay, so the steel carb comes with this, and then I guess you can still use this. Yeah, that's a good idea. We'll just leave that on there, kind of hold it in place. Because I've got a straight through shot now. You should be able to, definitely don't want to lose that. Kind of a neat idea. I don't think the original Stihl had that little keeper there. Okay, what I wanted to do there was come off a low, like a, yeah, so I came off a low, a quarter turn, so I'm a turn and a quarter out on low. Let's see if that works. Let's see, choke, no choke. Okay, so let's go down to a turn, out on low. Another quarter. Increase our idle a little bit. New steel carb. What's going on? A little bit more idle. Another quarter turn. Come in on the low jet. A quarter turn. I need to come out on the low jet. Go back to where we were, turn and a half. I don't want to smoke this place up too bad. Alright, so there you go. There's my first look at the Holzfforma G111. I think I'm going to still trust it enough to take it back. I've got to go through that whole process again, and I'm testing it out in some wood with the new Stihl carb so I can get it adjusted right. It still seemed like it was maybe a little rich there. It was hard to tell, but again, you know, you kind of roll it. Once you get it running and idling like that, you turn it in until it starts to die, and then you turn it back out until it starts to die, and then I usually go like a half turn-ish back in, and usually leave it there. I like to leave it rich on the low end, so as soon as I'm done cutting, it's got a bunch of gas coming in there, slowing it down and actually cooling it down. So, but I mean, honestly, if I had a 200T, I would be just ecstatic. But, you know, they don't make them anymore. They don't sell them anymore. Unless you want to go on eBay and spend $1,000. This is your next best option for, quote-unquote, everybody's favorite top-handle saw. So, I mean, this is the option that I went. I wanted to kind of detail there why it was the best option for me. Maybe it's not for you. And it's especially not for you if you can't or don't want to fix it. I'm used to buying junk, so this is kind of fits right in my wheelhouse. Fixing junk is kind of what happens on the channel here and on my farm, because I can't afford, you know, a brand new $50,000 tractor, or a brand new, you know, $30,000 baler, or a brand new anything really. I'm working toward building a house, so I just get the cheapest tools that I can possibly get without, you know, breaking the bank. But tools that get the job done are critical, right? If this tool isn't going to get the job done, I'm going to be the first one to say, hey, it's not on the channel for a reason anymore, like that Echo. After running that a little bit more, taking it through the brush, taking it through, trying to cut down smaller trees, the power was so bad on that thing. You dig in and it's just like, bat, just dying, you know, stopping the, it had no power. And it had good compression. You know, this one has all kinds of power. Let's look at it cut through that tree again. It's pretty amazing, the power on this one. So I'm going to continue to use it, continue to test it. When those, you know, so I ordered like 3 sets of these AV mounts, and I guess when, you know, this set fails, I'll just have set after set after set. And that was kind of the way with the 020 AV. The same thing happened. Those AV mounts went out. And matter of fact, Farmertec, I think, was the one that I got another set from, and they're still going in it. I may have gotten lucky and found new old stock on eBay, but finding parts for that is just not, it's not going to work anymore. It's just not. So I had to get something there was a spare parts market for. And that, you know, that eventually is going to happen to that 031. Luckily, I've got that 365. I've also just went through and pulled out, oh, it's right here, my old Husqvarna 350. And this thing is just a delight to run. It's so snappy and fast. For a 50cc saw, man, you can't really go wrong with that saw. So, anyways, that's the Holzfforma Farmertec G111. If it's continued to be shown on the channel here, it's something that I'm going to continue to use, and if it's not on the channel, and I'll tell you about it, it means it went away. So, anyways, that's going to do it for today on Man Time, guys. Get out there, have you some Man Time too. She's not laughing now. Ooh, she's smoking. Well, that's tested for me, guys. Yeah, like I said, I'm not happy about my purchase, but on the other hand, there's definite reasons why you might think about getting one of these. For one being, it was touted as kind of the best saw to have, and it's no longer made. So what are other options? Well, I mean, this company saw a need in the market, right? Stihl's not making the saw. People still wanted the saw. I mean, it's kind of the same thing for like auto parts. I don't know if you've been to the parts store lately and got any parts for your car, your wife's car, but the American-made car, you aren't buying parts that are made in America to put on your car. I mean, and I went down to Monterrey, Mexico to tour some different plants and facilities. It was like driving down like the Dow Jones Industrial NASDAQ. I mean, you had Ford, John Deere, Boeing, Chevy. I mean, I'm not giving anything away here, but lots and lots of companies are in Monterrey, Mexico, and the parts stores carry parts from all around the world. And for chainsaw parts, you don't have a lot of options for spare parts. I mean, there was a need in the market. This company filled it, and so far I'm happy with this saw. I can already feel something's kind of loose up here. Maybe an AV mount. Yeah, it looks like my AV mount. Something may have happened there. But I mean, so far I'm pleased with it. This is only the third tank of gas. Now I'm going to be on my fourth tank here in a minute. But anyways, it is what it is, right? We'll see how it goes. It'll continue to be on the channel. If it's still around, then we know it holds up. So anyways, thanks for joining me today on Man Time, guys. Get out there, have you some Man Time too.